Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Semua sihat ya?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Sehat, Prof. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Jadi insya-Allah kita akan sambung kelas kita advanced research method. So for this class, we will cover not only the theory in research method, but also how to write the research, how to do the research, how to write your PhD thesis. Inshallah, you can ask any questions dalam kelas ini. Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu boleh mengajukan apa-apa soalan yang berkaitan dengan pengajian. Jadi untuk kelas ini seperti dimaklumkan ya, untuk kelas ini perlu ada assessmentnya ada 3 ya. Yang pertama assignment 1. Assignment 1 is similar to colloquium 1. So untuk semester ini insya-Allah akan diadakan colloquium 1 untuk semua pelajar PhD yang belum lulus, yang belum mengambil colloquium 1. So colloquium 1 will be offered to those PhD students who have not yet presented at colloquium 1. So in this class, I will guide you on how to write assignment 1, which is similar to colloquium 1. Jadi assignment 1 dengan colloquium 1 adalah sama ya, hampir sama, similar. Jadinya tarikh untuk colloquium 1 secara tentatifnya adalah pada Mac 24 2022. So harap bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu bersedia ya.
Insyaallah.
I think 10 weeks from now, from yesterday, so maybe on April, not much.
Jadi kita akan bincang sekali lagi. Last week we discussed about assignment 1. So let's go over the assignment 1 one more time. I also sent to your WhatsApp group. So this is assignment 1, what you have to do. And it is similar to colloquium 1. You will present whatever assignment 1 that you have written. So the deadline for assignment 1 is, it doesn't say here. It doesn't say here. Okay. The deadline is 12th of February. The deadline here is, So you need to submit your assignment 1 on the 12th of February. So this assignment 1 will be marked based on your ability to communicate and understanding of ideas and concepts in the initial plan of a research topic of your choice. So you have to have a research topic. So I hope everybody already submitted the research topic. We can still modify, we can still change if necessary. So in this class, you can ask any questions. Inshallah, I will try my best to guide you to be prepared for colloquium 1. Okay. So the title is Initial Plan of a Research Topic Chosen by Students. So the topic is similar to the topic that you choose for your PhD thesis. Okay. So let me repeat. What you need to do is, number 1, of course, you need to determine your topic, the title of your thesis, right? And number 2, you need to establish the research problem. So research problem is stated very clearly. We will discuss more on this one. And then you need to establish the research purpose. The research purpose contains research objectives and also research questions. So all research questions and research objectives must be clear and aligned with the problem, with the research problem. Okay, any question on this one? You can ask question before we discuss further.
Prof, may I ask, Prof?
Yes, silakan.
Yes. Can we start to discuss with our supervisor to do this assignment?
Good question. Yes, you can discuss with your supervisor. My
Start from
job.
now?
Okay, my job as a lecturer for this class is to guide you and to examine whether what you write is according to the research method. All right. So in a way, you can ask help and guidance from your supervisor and use this class to ask questions to check whether what you write is according to the research methodology. So indirectly, I will also guide you besides your supervisor.
Yes, thank you, Prof.
Most welcome. So in this class, you can ask any questions related to your research, the topic of your thesis. Any question? So the first thing is we need to establish the research problem and then research questions, research objectives, significance of the study, scope and limitations of the study, and a literature review, a little bit of literature review, not much, a little bit of literature review and a little bit about research method or research design. So this one not much. This is just the initial plan. Any question?
How many words, Prof?
Ya, silakan jika ada soalan. Jangan malu-malu ya. Jika ada soalan, silakan.
How many words, berapa kata untuk itu, Prof?
Nanti sekali lagi kurang jelas.
Untuk proposal itu perlu berapa kata? How many words we have to submit?
Tidak perlu terlalu panjang. Usually around 20 pages. Roughly, approximately 20 pages. Jadi, ibu-ibu, bapak-bapak telah submit kepada Dr. Tahir ya, proposal. Tujuan dihantar kepada Dr. Tahir ialah untuk kita tentukan siapakah supervisor. Ya. Jadi pada semester lepas ada beberapa pelajar yang keliru, yang confused. Mereka kata saya sudah hantar proposal kepada Dr. Tahir. Jadi kenapa perlu di-present lagi? Kenapa perlu present dalam kelas ini? Adakah sama assignment 1 di sini dengan yang disubmit kepada Dr. Tahir? Ya? Okey, jadi saya ingin jelaskan. Ya. Apa yang disubmit kepada Dr. Tahir adalah cuma initial plan. Ya. Initial plan untuk ditentukan supervisor. Siapakah supervisor? Dan initial plan tersebut akan di-improve dari semasa ke semasa. We will try to improve the initial plan, the topics, research problem, research purpose, significance of study, limitations of study. We will improve from time to time. In this class, I will try to guide you also, and of course you can contact your supervisor also. So will there be any conflict between what I say and what your supervisor say? Inshallah, there is no conflict. So we have, inshallah there will be no conflict. So we are just here to help you, to guide you, and in terms of the contents, usually we leave it up to you. Terpulang kepada ibu-ibu, bapa-bapa untuk menulis tajuk yang diminati, tajuk yang ingin ditulis. Cuma kita akan guide dan cuba baiki, cuba improve. Kita lihat dari sudut research methodology. Okey, jadi untuk lulus PhD, saya ulang untuk lulus PhD, pertama mesti lulus kelas ini lulus kelas ini. Kemudian insya-Allah lulus kolokium 1 initial plan ini, insya-Allah semua akan lulus. Just follow this class. Kita akan guide supaya bila present dalam kolokium 1 nanti 24 Mac, InsyaAllah semua akan lulus. Kemudian selepas lulus Kolokium 1, ibu-ibu, bapa-bapa akan present di proposal defense. Ya, proposal defense itu lambat lagi lah, mungkin 2 semester selepas lulus Kolokium 1. Ya. Dan seterusnya lah, nanti kita bincang dari semasa ke semasa lah. Jadi one step at a time. Pass this class and pass Colloquium 1. One step at a time. So semester ni insyaAllah. Bapak Prayogi, ada soalan? Silakan.
Terima kasih, Prof. Nah, untuk waktunya. Saya kan sudah untuk ini saya sudah hantar initial proposal ke Dr. Tahir. Apakah sudah ada penentuan untuk supervisor, Prof?
Iya, sudah ada. Sudah
Jadi
ada,
saya bisa
insyaAllah.
berkomunikasi. Oh, gitu.
Cuma nanti
Karena-
boleh tanya secara direct kepada Dr. Tahir, ya. Boleh WhatsApp
Oh, baik.
dan bertanya.
Prof. Baik, Prof.
Minta maaf saya tidak ada maklumat itu.
Iya. Baik, Prof. Terima kasih, Prof.
Jadi Bapak Prayogi, kita akan masih improve apa yang dihantar kepada Dr. Tahir itu, kita masih improve dalam kelas ini. Dan insya-Allah pada 24 Mac akan diadakan Kolokium 1. Kepada yang belum lagi lah, kepada yang belum present. Alhamdulillah semester lepas semua pelajar PhD yang present Kolokium 1 lulus. Alhamdulillah. Semester ni insya-Allah semua akan lulus, tapi kita masih perlu baikilah apa yang telah dihantar kepada Dr. Tahir itu. Jangan berpuas hati, ya. Ada student tanya last semester, I sent to Dr. Tahir. Why I need to send to you? We are two different persons. Dr. Tahir cuma minta proposal untuk ditentukan examiner. So dalam kelas ini is an academic exercise. Saya akan guide, kita akan bincang untuk menulis tajuk-tajuk yang dipilih oleh ibu-ibu dan bapa-bapa, dan saya akan cuba guide sehingga luluslah, insya-Allah. Okey. Ada soalan? Before we continue, okay, there are two types of research: pure or theoretical research and applied research. Okay, in pure research, usually the researchers use pure research to develop new knowledge. That advances our understanding of the real world. So there are areas that we know, and there are areas that we do not know. So research is done to fill the gap between what we know and what we don't know. What we know means what have been done, what have been studied. What is not known is what have not been studied before. So in pure research, help the researchers, to determine For example, whether based on the data that we collect, we will determine whether the data support or does not support the theory. So in pure research, we want to study what has not been studied before. So in pure research, usually PhD research is pure research, although sometimes some PhD students combine. There are some elements of pure research and also some elements of applied research. So in pure research, researchers' contribution in extending or improving the current theories. Okay, so we have many theories and we want to improve, we want to extend the existing theories. Also, we want to use the data, the current data, to test whether the theory receives empirical support or not. Okay, so that is a pure research. Some PhD students also combine the elements of pure research with applied research. So in applied research, researchers conduct applied research to solve certain specific real-life problem. So in applied research, we have a real-life. We must come up with a real-life problem. Dalam applied research, mesti ada masalah, sebenar. Ya. Contoh kalau kita nak kaji agihan zakat, ya. Contoh kutipan zakat, the collection of zakat, for example. So if the collection of zakat decreases every year, the collection of zakat decreases, then it is we consider it as a real life problem, right? So if the collection of zakat is improving, has been improving, so applied researcher says we cannot study because there is no problem there. But pure researchers will say, if zakat collection increases, we can still study because we want to know, for example, what factors determines the improvement in zakat collection. Okay. Bapak Prayagi, anybody faham tak apa yang saya nak katakan?
InsyaAllah, Prof.
Saya cuba repeat dalam bahasa Melayu. Katakan kutipan zakat,
Okay, Prof.
ataupun boleh faham. Katakan kutipan zakat sedang meningkat. Jadi pure researchers ingin mengkaji faktor-faktor yang mempengaruhi peningkatan dalam kutipan zakat. Jadi dalam problem statement ialah kutipan zakat sedang meningkat. Ya, ini contoh kutipan zakat meningkat. Oleh itu, kajian ini mengkaji faktor-faktor yang mempengaruhi peningkatan dalam kutipan zakat. Itu pure research. Kalau applied research, dia kata jika kutipan zakat meningkat, tidak ada masalah di situ. Kajian tidak boleh dilakukan. There is no real life problem. Sebab kutipan zakat sudah meningkat. Jadi tidak perlu jalankan satu kajian untuk mengkaji. Tidak ada problem di situ. Jadi maksudnya cara pemikiran yang berbeza. Two school of thoughts. Pure research attempts to examine, to expand the limit of knowledge, to examine what we do not know. But applied research attempts to solve the real world problem. Okay? If there is no real world problem, there is no need for research. That is according to applied research. Okay. Any question? Okay.
Prof.
Yes, silakan.
Prof. Actually, I still consider my subject. Yeah. Actually, we have not submit the first proposal to Dr. Tahir, just the title. Okay. I need to discuss. This is my thought. Yeah, is about my title is concerning about banking. Actually, I want to measure the risk, the enterprise risk. Yeah, I want to measure the enterprise risk management of a banking, whether there is the relationship between enterprise risk management and the profitability. Now, I'm not sure whether there is a problem or not there. Yeah. But here I have to find out the ways how to measure the ERM, how to measure the enterprise risk management. Actually, in Indonesia, according to our regulatory guidance, they have some guidances, but not I'm not sure about whether this is a comprehensive risk assessment or not. So I want to challenge whether the guidance, the regulatory guidance is acceptable or not to measure the total risk of the bank. What do you think, Bro? So actually, kan the regulation said that, yeah, the regulation said that all banks must have capital in accordance to the risk, in accordance to the risk profile of the bank. So meaning that we have to calculate all the risks. To calculate the risk, some of the guidance it's depend on the bank. I mean, the regulator give authority to the bank to measure their risk, self-assessment lah. Now here I want to find out the acceptable measurement to calculate the risk. What do you think, Prof? Actually, I'm still confused here with the title.
How are you going to find out the acceptable measure of
Measurement.
Yeah. How are you going to calculate, and how are you going to find out the acceptable? You say the acceptable risk, the acceptable measure of risk.
Actually, there are some guidelines. Actually, there are some guidance how to measure the risk. Yeah, actually they have some guidance lah. But gimana ya? According to me, we have many ways how to measure the risk. So I want to find out which one is the most acceptable ones.
Okay, so my question is how and who will calculate the risk? Is it okay? How? Okay, we have several ways,
Yeah.
several measures,
Yeah.
several formulas to
Yeah.
calculate the.
And then I want to combine. Those measurements.
Okay.
So there is a theory on the ERM, enterprise risk management. Yeah, there's a theory of enterprise risk management, and then there are many opinions about how to measure the enterprise risk management. How to measure? There's some opinions about that. And then I want to compare with the regulatory ones. Jadi ada OJK, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, they have guidance on how to measure the risk profile. Yeah, that's a guidance lah, regulation. And then another theory, we have theory how to measure the ERM, Enterprise Risk Management. So I want to check whether Islamic banks in Indonesia, jadi I want to measure lah enterprise risk management maturity or index or whatever lah, seperti itulah. Tapi saya belum exactly the topic, saya belum find out gitu loh. So I want to improve the way bank in Indonesia calculate their risk. That's my purpose. Because actually, previously I'm a practitioner, and then I did yeah the risk profile measurement, but it's a very it's not comprehensive yet lah, according to me. So I want to give suggestion that the banks, the Islamic banks in Indonesia, how they should self-assessment in measuring their risk lah. Seperti itu, Prof. Tapi, what do you think?
When we do research, number one, we have to ask ourselves, who are the respondents in our study? So in this case, to calculate the enterprise risk management, right? So
yeah.
Maybe you need expert opinion, right? We call the expert opinion, because as a PhD student, we need to rely on others to get the information.
Yeah.
We are not yet at the level where we can solve the problem. So we need to determine the respondents of the study. It looks like in this case, we need to use the expert analysis. We need to find out the experts in the field of risk management. And then the respondents might be the experts in the field of risk management and also enterprise risk management. Then we need to determine how we can get the information from them.
Yeah.
Maybe you can consider the easiest way is, of course, to interview, right? To use the interview, whether structured or unstructured interview. And Regarding the topic, I think it's all right. But for PhD, we need to examine in detail, and we need to show that the contribution of this research is significant enough to reach the PhD level. So we need some expert in the field of
Risk management,
risk
enterprise risk.
management or enterprise risk management. It seems like you have a good background in the field. It's just we need to study more and think more on how to make this topic, reach the PhD level. At PhD level, the analysis is thorough, and the pages is at least 300 pages, right? So that means there are a lot that we need to write. So my suggestion is try to get a PhD thesis on this topic, whether on risk management or enterprise risk management, and study what have been written before, so that you can try to see what has not been studied yet. Okay, so we can go from there. We need to know what have been studied first in this area. I think it's an interesting area. Enterprise risk management. Try to get a few theses that has been done, PhD thesis, so that we know how they did their research, right, on this topic, what they have revealed, what are the findings of their study, so that we want to explore and study more. So we want to, like I said before, we want to study what has not been studied. We cannot study what has been studied. So if they have studied certain aspects, okay, we want to study other aspects that have not been studied before. So try to get, the key is try to get 2 or 3 PhD thesis on the risk management and enterprise risk management.
Yes. Because actually our regulator not use the term of enterprise risk management, just risk profile actually. They use the term risk profile, not enterprise risk management. Enterprise risk management is more wide than only the risk profile. So I want to see from the other perspective, not just the risk profile, but the whole risk, meaning the enterprise risk.
Yes, the word is very important. So if you want to use enterprise risk management, you have to be able to clarify to the readers, to your supervisors, what it covers. The enterprise risk management, you have to explain in detail, and imagine that other people don't understand, only you understand. So you need to write in detail to convince the readers, your supervisors, this is what you want to do. So whether you want to use risk profile or the whole enterprise risk. So it's up to you. You define what you want to study. And like I said, try to get a few theses, few PhD thesis that has been done or research that has been done on this topic, so that you will be more clear on what you want to focus.
So actually, finally, I want to see the relationship between the enterprise risk management and the profitability lah, for example.
How?
Finally, I want to link the ERM.
How you are going to link?
Meaning that I have to calculate first the ERM, and then I have to determine the ERM level, maybe ERM level or ERM maturity level, and then correlate with the purpose, the target of the bank or the profitability, for example.
Think of it this way. When we do research, number one, we think about the kind of data that we need, right? The kind of data that we need. Who will provide the data? We need secondary or primary data. So, for example, if you want expert opinion, so there is primary data, right? So if you want to calculate yourself, the risk, you will use a secondary data. You will calculate yourself. But for PhD, I strongly recommend that you use the data from other people. Instead of you say, oh, I calculate this one. So instead of saying, if the examiner asks you, who calculate this one? You say, I calculate. I strongly recommend to avoid using the word I. For example, okay, this risk is calculated by this person, the expert, using interview, for example. So when we do the thesis, the data, the opinions are from the experts, right? So we are not yet the expert to solve the problem. So to solve the problem, the problem, depends on the objective, right? If you want to study the perception of customers towards risk, right? So your respondents are probably customers of certain banks. If you want to see the expert opinion on how to calculate the risk, maybe your respondents are the experts in the field of risk management. So think about whether you want to use perception. So most PhD students, they like to study on the perception because I think it's
easier, yeah, easier, Prof.
Yeah, maybe they can write more, maybe.
Is the perception the data from the primary also, right?
From primary
data perception.
Yeah, usually using questionnaires or
questionnaire.
We can use the mixed method where we combine qualitative and quantitative When we use questionnaire, we do the quantitative. And then sometimes we ask the experts, using interview. So that is the qualitative. So in some cases, it's necessary to do mixed method. In some cases, it is sufficient to do one method, for example, quantitative. And in some cases, it's just sufficient to use one method, qualitative. So it depends on really what we want to examine. So I think it's a good topic.
Thank you.
We just need to think more, think harder on the method that we want to use, whether quantitative or qualitative or mixed method.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Any other question boleh tanya? Jangan risau. It's just us. It's just you and me. Putri, any question?
Yes, Prof. Thank you so much for the time. 2 weeks ago, saya sudah explain bagaimana conceptual framework. You said that add to independent variable. Now, I find more literature review, more than 5 literature review for the independent variable, such as final literacy, self quality,
what is
yes,
the
Prof?
What is the dependent variable? You confirm?
Final literacy, self quality, and then I add to religiosity. I can share. Yes, Prof.
Yeah, yes, you can share. Please share.
Yes, Prof. Cannot share screen, Prof.
Try again.
Yes. Okay, Prof.
Okay, your DV is use.
Intention to use IB product and use IB product actually. And then I add to once independent variable again. It's a religiosity, Prof.
Okay.
Gimana nih, Prof? Menurut Prof, apakah sudah masih ada perbaikan atau gimana, Prof?
Ya, pendapat saya masih perlu dibaiki lagi.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. The word in the DV you say use. Okay, use.
Yes.
Okay. Check
Prof. Itu, Prof.
Yeah. Check the literature. The word is very important. Whether
Yes, Prof.
use or usage or adoption,
Yes.
or acceptance. So there are many words that have been used. This one, think again, whether you want to use the word use or usage or acceptance, adoption, or
Patronize.
patronage, yeah, or patronage.
Yes.
Or acceptance. So think again, this one. Okay, think
Yes, Prof.
Intention is all right because there is no other word used. So the word is intention here.
Find dependent variable yang tadi itu ya, Prof, accepted, adoption, use, or another.
Yeah, you need to, it's very important because if you use, if the
Yes,
word
Prof.
if the word used, for example,
Yes.
the examiner will ask you, what is your underpinning theory?
Yes, Prof.
Which underpinning theory use this word? Use. And why you want to use the word use? You have to have the answer. You
Yes,
cannot say,
Prof.
you cannot say, oh, I just want to use the word use. They will ask you why you want to use the word use,
Yes.
right?
Yes, Prof.
Which
Reason. Reason to use, Prof.
which underpinning theory have used this word?
Yes.
So, for example, the examiner says, I've never read any article that use the word use. Why you want to use the word use? Okay, for
Yes,
example,
Prof. Yes, Prof.
Okay. So the
Uh,
common words are usage,
yes.
patronage, adoption,
Adoption.
acceptance.
Yes, yes,
So
Prof.
the word that you use will have implications
Hmm.
because if you use, for example, adoption, so
Yes.
the IV are different. If you use the word acceptance, the IV will change.
Oh,
Yeah,
influence for the IV and DV, yes, Prof.
yeah. So your IV depends on your DV, right? So
Yes.
okay, think again. You want to use adoption or acceptance or usage.
Yes, Prof. Patronize.
Uh, like I said before, if possible, try to get a few research or a few PhD thesis on the acceptance or adoption of Islamic banking, and you will see that they have many variables, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this person might use these variables, another person use different variables, this person use different variables, and then you want to be smart, right? You want to
Yes, Prof.
create your own conceptual framework. So what you do is, number one, you can pick one or two from this one, and then one or two from another one. Then you try to combine, and your framework must be different from others.
Yes, Prof.
Usually three or
Three in.
for PhD, I think it's better to have four, more than three variable for PhD.
Three.
Okay, this one is okay. You have understanding maqasid syariah. When you say you want to use understanding maqasid syariah, it's very important that you have the access to someone who already use this term,
Yes,
understanding
Prof.
maqasid syariah, because later on you want to construct the items
Yes.
or the questions. At least for one variable, you need at least 8 items, right? So understanding maqasid syariah, is there anyone who have used this one as modality? For this one, Bu Putri,
Yes, Prof. I can
understanding
hear you, Prof.
for construct understanding. Can someone needs to mute, yeah?
Unmute.
Okay. Somebody is talking.
Amir Yahya itu, Prof.
Yes, apa?
Maybe Prof can Amir Yahya. Maybe Prof
Okay.
Prof, jadi
can unmute.
construct understanding makosid syariah tuh kita dibuat dulu ya, Prof? Atau seperti apa, Prof?
Sebaiknya mesti ada previous researchers who have
Oh.
used this construct.
Yes.
Sebaiknya kita tidak melakukan sesuatu yang belum dilakukan.
Yes, Prof.
It's best that we do not create any new constructs, because it's very difficult to construct items. So
Yes.
if we use constructs, understanding maqasid Sharia, make sure there are some previous researchers who have used this construct before, so that we can adapt and adopt the items. Kita cuma ubah suai saja,
Sesuai sih.
modify the items. So
Not yet, Prof. Find the understanding makosid syariah literature review.
yeah, if not, you need to change. If you cannot find moderating here, you need to change.
Can change, Prof.
Can.
Yes.
Anytime.
Thank you, Prof.
You can still change.
Yes, Prof.
IV also you can still change. At this stage, we are still playing around.
Moderating can be changed too, Prof.
Yeah, moderating here. The moderating here is understanding maqasid syariah. Intention
Can
is
be.
mediating.
Yes, Prof. Can be to be changed, Prof.
Yes. Even DV can
Yes.
still be changed. At this time, we are still like playing around first, and we do not finalize yet.
Yes, Prof.
Like
And
I
then,
said,
yes,
yeah,
Prof.
like I said, try to get a few PhD thesis that is similar to this one.
Yes, Prof.
For
And
example,
then,
go ahead.
Okay, Prof. Thank you. And then, Prof. Next slide. To research question for the research question, such as number 1 and 2, 3, and 4, Prof.
So research questions depend on the framework.
Yes,
So
Prof.
if later on you change, then you modify research question.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, that's what we do. When I was a student also, I was like that. Sometimes we need to change research questions, research objective until we are
Okay, Prof.
until we can just give justification for every variable that we include in the framework.
Justification berapa, Prof? Minimize-nya, Prof? 1, 2. Conditional, Prof.
Justification means like this. For example, you say literacy has influence on intention to use Islamic bank products. Okay. You need to specify maybe 2 or 3 previous authors who have used literacy.
Yes, Prof.
As a determinant of intention to use Islamic banking product. Maybe
Yes, Prof.
maybe 2 or 3 previous studies. And then number 2, you need to justify in the case of Indonesia why literacy is significant. Of course, there are many other variables that are significant, right? Why you choose literacy? Maybe that kind of questions will be asked in
Yes.
the colloquium 1. Because among many other variables, why literacy is considered as significant.
Okay, Prof.
I think that one is difficult to answer unless you have, previous studies.
Yes, Prof. Okay, Prof. I think that thank you for your guidance, me, Prof.
You're welcome. Try.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah.
I still to try again, Prof.
Try again, Try again.
Yes, Prof. Thank you so much.
The most important is you have previous studies to support you.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, any question from anybody else? Please ask question because, you know, by asking question, we can learn more. As-su'al miftahul ilmi. Bu Patria Yunita, Bapak Kamal,
Yes, sir.
Bu Rosida, Bapak Ahmad Safidin, ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan, Prof. Alhamdulillah.
Sehat ya?
Sehat.
Alhamdulillah. Silakan kalau ada pertanyaan lagi. Bapak Mufti Hasan, Bapak Hendra,
Not yet, Prof. Tak ada.
tak ada
Tak ada
soalan lagi
soalan.
ya?
Tak ada.
Belum ada soalan. Okay.
Belum.
Udah beres, udah selesai PS PhD-nya, Pak.
Jika tidak ada soalan, maksudnya sudah faham semuanya.
Sambil berjalan lah.
Prof, tanya Prof.
Silakan.
Which prefer qualitative or quantitative in Unisam PhD?
Tidak ada preference ya.
Tidak ada preferensi ya.
Ya, boleh saja buat kuantitatif, boleh saja buat kualitatif. InsyaAllah kita ada supervisor yang akan guide. Cuma kita akan melihat sama ada kaedah mana yang lebih sesuai, bergantung kepada tajuk yang dipilih ya.
Tajuk saya tentang ini, Prof. Tentang zakat, infak, sedekah, BMT. Mungkin saya belum selesai membuat proposal singkatnya, baru menghantarkan tajuk ke Dr. Tahir. Jadi di seputar pengelolaan di Indonesia disebutnya JIS, zakat, infak, sedekah, dan BMT, Baitul Mal. Persoalan yang mau diangkat mungkin seputar reinterpretasi terhadap makna zakat, infak, dan sedekah dalam kitab suci Al-Quran. Kemudian implementasi pada zaman Rasul dan Khulafaur Rasyidin. Di masa itu adalah sumber penerimaan negara. Nah, nanti dibandingkan dengan di masa sekarang, bahwa pengelolaan zakat, infak, sedekah itu bukan sumber penerimaan negara, tapi parsial itu ya, parsial. Saya mungkin mau semacam mengeksplor kenapa zakat, infak, sedekah itu belum dijadikan sebagai sumber penerimaan negara, belum masuk. Di Indonesia disebutnya APBN, Anggaran Pendapatan dan Belanja Negara. Selama ini di Indonesia sumber penerimaan negara itu pajak dan hutang. Nah, jadi hutang kita besar, Prof. Nah, kenapa alternatif dari zakat, infak, sedekah ini tidak dimanfaatkan? Emang ada sukuk, Tapi sukuk ini mirip dengan obligasi, menjadi beban negara, penerimaan tapi menjadi beban negara untuk ada semacam bagi hasil. Ya mirip-mirip bunga sebenarnya di sukuk itu. Nah, secara teori yang yang baru saya temukan bahwa di teori itu bahwa infak berbeda dengan zakat itu bisa menjadi sumber penerimaan negara. Kalau kita lihat sejarah misalnya para sahabat Nabi sendiri itu ya, mereka berlomba-lomba membelanjakan hartanya untuk membiayai misalnya keperluan-keperluan negara seperti perang gitu. Nah, kenapa ini nggak dijadikan semacam sumber penerimaan negara untuk ketika negara misalnya membutuhkan? Nah, apakah ini ada karena interpretasi atau karena ada hal tertentu? Nah, itu seputar tentang topik yang akan saya ajukan, tapi belum selesai saya tulis, Prof. Gimana, Prof, tanggapannya?
Baik, tajuk yang bagus itu. Sebenarnya tajuk itu adalah tajuk Islamic Social Finance ya.
Social Finance ya.
Islamic Social Finance ya. Yang bila kita sebut Islamic Social Finance bermaksud satu bentuk dana untuk membantu masyarakat daripada perspektif Islam. Jadi Islamic Social Finance mengandungi zakat. Antara instrumennya ialah zakat, wakaf, sedekah ya. Dan zaman sekarang ni sedekah adalah terdapat banyak kategori ya sedekah ya. Antaranya Islamic crowdfunding, itu pun sebahagian daripada sedekah. Walaupun kajian menyatakan bahawa sedekah dan Islamic crowdfunding adalah dua perkara yang berbeza. Tapi dia ada satu bentuk ataupun instrumen Islamic Social Finance. Jadi saya melihat tajuk ini mungkin menggunakan beberapa kombinasi data. Ya. Pertama mungkin dari segi data berbentuk library research, iaitu perlu dilihat kajian-kajian atau penulisan-penulisan tentang kita sebut Islamic Fiscal Policy. Ya, Islamic Fiscal Policy berbeza dengan conventional fiscal policy ya. Jadi perlu dilihat penulisan-penulisan tentang Islamic versus conventional fiscal policy. Sekarang ini kita menggunakan conventional fiscal policy ya, di mana the sources of revenue are tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Kalau di zaman pemerintahan awal Islam ya, kita menggunakan di zaman Rasulullah, di zaman Khulafa ar-Rashidin, dalam Islam menggunakan konsep Islamic Fiscal Policy. Dalam Islamic Fiscal Policy, sumber dananya yang utama ialah zakat, wakaf. Zaman Rasulullah tidak ada cukai ya. Jadi itu fidyah, haraj dan banyak lagi lah. Jizyah ya, jizyah, haraj dan banyak lagi lah. Jadi itu mungkin boleh dilihat dari segi library research lah. Ada banyak juga yang telah dikaji tentang itulah. Perbezaan di antara konvensional dan Islamic fiscal policy. So bila kita buat research, kita akan fikir dari mana nak dapat data itu ya? Dari mana nak dapat information. Kalau dari segi sudut untuk melihat kenapa zakat, kenapa wakaf tidak digunakan sebagai sumber dana kerajaan federal ya. Sebab kita itu sudah ada jawapan, sebab kita sebenarnya mengamalkan conventional fiscal policy. Cuma di Indonesia itu kerajaan memberi support kepada World Zakat Forum ya, untuk dana zakat itu digunakan sebagai sebahagian daripada dana kerajaan untuk mencapai SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. Yang tu boleh dibaca lah. Kemudian boleh guna expert opinion juga. Jadi saya nampak kajian ini lebih berbentuk kuali, cuma ada sikit sebanyak kuanti lah. Dia mainly kuali di mana data boleh diperolehi daripada research, library research ya. Dan juga data diperolehi daripada expert ya. Kita boleh cari expert dalam bidang zakat, expert dalam bidang wakaf, dan expert dalam bidang, for example, Islamic crowdfunding ataupun sedekah. Jadi itu tajuk yang bagus lah. Itu tajuk yang agak hangat pada masa sekarang, kerana Islamic social finance instruments such as zakat, wakaf and others are powerful instruments to help people in need, untuk membantu mereka yang dalam keperluan, terutama di zaman pandemik ini kita menghadapi masalah ekonomi ya, masalah pengangguran, masalah inflasi, masalah kemiskinan ya, masalah mereka yang terkesan akibat bencana. Jadi zakat, wakaf, Islamic crowdfunding memainkan peranan yang penting ya. Jadi boleh fokus lah. Kalau di Indonesia tu saya melihat World Zakat Forum memainkan peranan yang bagus dalam dari sudut sudut kutipan juga agak tinggi ya, melebihi saya lihat hari itu kepatuhan zakat di Indonesia antara tertinggi ya, melebihi 60% kadar kepatuhan zakat. Kemudian boleh lihat juga peranan wakaf. Jadi macam mana nak dapat data, saya melihat mungkin boleh combine, menggabungkan data kuali juga data kuanti jugalah. Kuali mungkin menggunakan expert opinion, kena interview pakar-pakar. Kalau yang lain tu boleh dapat berdasarkan library research. Library research maksud kita membaca kajian-kajian dan penulisan-penulisan yang lepas lah. Ada banyak sebenarnya penulisan tentang zakat dan wakaf ini ya. Kalau zakat tu banyak dalam fiqh zakat karya tulisan Dr. Yusuf Paldawi ya. Ada banyak maklumat di situ. Dan banyaklah kajian-kajian terkini ya. InsyaAllah buku saya Management of Zakat dan Management of Wakaf akan diterbitkan dan tidak lama lagi ya. Cuma saya agak sibuk di final stage untuk edit. Jadi saya juga telah terbit satu buku tentang zakat, dan ada lagi Management of Zakat and Management of Wakaf. Tapi belum dapat ISBN, belum dapat ISBN lagi ya, dalam proses untuk memohon ISBN, insya-Allah. Nanti saya kongsilah buku saya tu.
Boleh, Prof.
Jadi sebelum kita sambung, saya mohon berehat 10 minit untuk coffee
Boleh.
break. Kita minum sekejap. Ya. Baik, assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. InsyaAllah kita sambung.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
InsyaAllah kita sambung lagi ya.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Jadi saya mengharapkan semua sihat-sihat saja. Dan saya ulang ya, insyaAllah pada 24 Mac kita akan adakan kolokium 1 dan insyaAllah saya akan membantu semua untuk berjaya ya dalam kolokium 1. Jadi semester ni insyaAllah saya akan membantu semua supaya berjaya dalam lulus kelas ini. Kelas ini adalah kelas yang keempat ya. Kita semua ada 14 kelas. Jadi ini kelas yang keempat. Kuliah yang keempat ya. Jadi semua sekali ada 14 kuliah. Jadi masih ada banyak kuliah lagi untuk kita bersama-sama lah. Jadi saya gembira semua dapat ramai rakan-rakan daripada Indonesia. Dan saya cuba menjalinkan hubungan yang baiklah dengan semua. Sekiranya ada tidak puas hati ya dengan saya kan, beritahu saya ya. Jangan beritahu orang lain ya. Ada pelajar semester lepas satu orang saja yang komplain tentang saya. Yang lain semua alhamdulillah lah, mereka berpuas hati lah dengan saya sebagai pensyarah sebagai dosen ya. Cuma satu orang yang komplain dan saya pun suka jugalah bila komplain, tapi seboleh-bolehnya komplain kepada saya lah, bukan komplain kepada pihak lain ya. Kalau ada yang tidak faham atau apa ya. Jadi komplain kepada saya semester lepas ya. Kadang-kadang saya bercakap bahasa Melayu. Kadang-kadang saya cakap bahasa Inggeris. Bila saya cakap bahasa Melayu, dia beritahu pihak atasan ya, dia tidak faham bahasa Melayu ya. Itu komplainnya. Kalau tidak faham bahasa Melayu, saya akan cakap bahasa Inggeris. Jadi tidak ada masalah lah, insyaAllah. Jadi apa ya? Jadi saya di sini cuba sebaik mungkin lah. Saya bila bercakap saya bercakap dengan perlahan dengan perlahan. Itu style saya bercakap perlahan. Tapi jangan tidur dulu ya. I'm a good lecturer if you ask me questions. If you don't ask me questions, I'm a terrible lecturer.
I want to ask Prof.
Yes, please ask questions.
Ya, Prof, topik saya adalah tentang wakaf securities crowdfunding. Ya,
Sekali lagi.
Wakaf securities crowdfunding. Can you hear me? Ya, di Indonesia social crowdfunding, Islamic crowdfunding terutama wakaf sudah berjalan dengan baik. Kemudian juga sudah ada wakaf link sukuk. Jadi investasi wakaf kepada sukuk itu juga sudah ada investornya. Terus juga yang bukan Islamic, yang securities crowdfunding itu juga sudah berjalan, ada 7 securities. Nah, tapi yang belum berjalan adalah ketika wakaf produktif, cash wakaf yang digunakan secara produktif untuk di sekuritas crowdfunding itu belum berjalan. Jadi,
bagus.
Jadi saya ingin menggabungkan mengapa ketika sosial wakaf crowdfunding itu bisa berjalan, kemudian yang khusus link sukuk juga bisa, tetapi ketika ke sekuritas crowdfunding itu tidak berjalan. Nah, ini pengen Mungkin nanti metodologinya ada sebagian yang dari expert, kemudian juga ada kuesioner kepada para investor dan kepada para wakif. Nah, seperti itu, Prof.
Bagus, bagus. Cuma nanti Bu Emi perlu bezakan antara wakaf, Islamic crowdfunding dan sukuk. Sebab wakaf adalah berbeza dengan Islamic crowdfunding dari sudut the management procedures, tata cara pengurusannya tidak sama. Ya. Bagaimana untuk, walaupun kedua-duanya adalah dari broad sense, dari makna yang umum adalah sama, iaitu maknanya kita mengumpulkan dana sedikit daripada individu yang banyak. Itu maksud crowdfunding. We collect a little bit of money from the vast majority of the people, right? But wakaf and Islamic crowdfunding are two different things. To create a wakaf fund, right? There are procedures, different procedures. You can ask the expert to develop a crowdfunding, different procedures. Okay, crowdfunding need platforms, and platform has to conform with the procedures of Islamic crowdfunding. There are regulatory bodies that regulate wakaf, regulatory bodies that regulate Islamic crowdfunding, bodies that regulate sukuk. In Malaysia, there are different regulatory bodies. So good. You can collect the data from the expert and also from library research. And if you want to ask, the vast majority or the population, you can develop a questionnaire, right? So that's good. Like I said before, please try to get some previous research. So this is a kind of trending. What you want to do, what you want to study is in the area of Islamic social finance. And if you see, there are many conferences in Indonesia also, many conferences, and also throughout the world, many conferences on the Islamic social finance. I have presented a few papers also on this topic of zakat, wakaf, and Islamic crowdfunding on this conference. So I can share with you some of my papers, but I'm not expert, so you can ask experts from Indonesia, for example.
Di Indonesia sudah banyak, Prof, yang sudah ramai orang yang melakukan pembayaran wakaf, cash wakaf, wakafan melalui platform. Dan sudah banyak juga, sudah ramai yang membayar sekuritas crowdfunding, tetapi just for investment, not for wakaf. Nah, so I want to combine bagaimana investor itu mewakafkan dananya kepada SMEs untuk modal usaha, tetapi bagi hasilnya digunakan untuk wakaf.
Ya, betul. Pada permulaan research, nanti Bu Emi boleh memperkenalkan konsep wakaf, konsep sedekah. Islamic crowdfunding is like a new term. It's quite new. Like I said before, the regulatory bodies are different. Of course, for Islamic crowdfunding, now they combine, some of them combine with wakaf, because originally crowdfunding, when people donate, they expect some type of return, although in small amount. But if we combine with wakaf, then the donors do not expect any kind of return, because they expect, the reward in the hereafter. So we can also combine Islamic crowdfunding with wakaf. But first, you need to differentiate that there are two different things, but can be combined. Wakaf has been combined with sukuk, combined with Islamic crowdfunding, and also combined with what you call the business projects. So wakaf, there are many types of wakaf, and to improve wakaf collection, there are many ways that has been proposed, such as developing wakaf banks, banks specifically established for wakaf donors to contribute to the bank, and the bank will utilize the wakaf fund for the development of the ummah. In Turkey, there is a Waqif bank, but there are problems with Waqif bank because it operates as a conventional bank. It's very surprising.
Not Syariah bank.
Not Sharia bank, because it was developed during the era of Osmania, when at that time there was no Sharia bank.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
So you can look at other. There are many models of wakaf that has been proposed, but some of them cannot be materialized. In Malaysia, wakaf has been tried to be developed as a window. So Sharia Bank in Malaysia developed windows for wakaf, right? So people can donate through these wakaf windows. But the problem is when when the fund is deposited, for example, last year in the amount of wakaf donation to the Islamic window was more than 10 million ringgit. But the distribution was only about 1 million. The problem was when it becomes a bank, to reimburse the fund is very difficult, because you have to follow this
Procedure.
many procedures. The bank, it's very difficult to distribute to these recipients. There are many requirements. It's not easy to take out the money from the bank, because they have treasurer. They have to follow these rules. So that is the constraint. So we are trying to develop a different type of instrument for wakaf. The problem with wakaf is in Malaysia, there are many people who launch the wakaf platform, but without being regulated. So, so if the mutawalli or the sponsor of the wakaf is trusted, it's okay. But there are rooms for the fund to be misused, because people simply, launch this wakaf, and then the public just donate. Where do the dana goes to? So if there are rooms for some people to misuse
Yes,
the fund. So that's the problem in wakaf and also in Islamic crowdfunding. The regulatory bodies cannot control if the fund is not registered. In Malaysia, there are many wakaf platform. They simply launch without going through the proper registration. But people are very nice. They donate the money, but like I said, it needs to be regulated so that the fund is not misused. So yeah, so it's a good area to study.
Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Bapak Amir,
Oh, yes, sir.
you want to share?
Yes, thank you, Prof.
Welcome. You want to
Yeah,
share?
I need to consult you first for my what is that? My study started from my concern about the market share of Syariah banking in Indonesia is very, very low,
right,
compared with the conventional banking.
Yes.
So that's why I want to analyze, Prof, about this problem. I want to research about the marketing strategies of Syariah banking, why the market share is still very low. And if it is possible, maybe from my study, it can increase the market share of Syariah banking in Indonesia, sir.
Good.
So what do you think about this, sir?
Yes, it's a good topic. Like I said before, you can try to get a few PhD theses on this topic. There are many theses that has been done. I will share with you one thesis on the adoption of Islamic banking in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And also you can see some thesis. Actually, there are a few theses that has been done on this topic. But it's a good topic. There are still some areas that you can explore and try to be different. But for starting point, try to get one or a few theses on the adoption and acceptance of Islamic banking. It doesn't matter in Indonesia, in Malaysia, Nigeria, or some other place. It doesn't matter. The place is not important. The important is we want to see, like I said, we want to see the framework that have been used by previous studies. So maybe you can look at from other perspective. First, look at what others have done, right? Kita melihat apa yang telah dilakukan dalam bidang ini. Ya, sebenarnya bidang ini bukan baru. Jadi terdapat kajian-kajian lepas yang mengkaji kenapa share of Syariah bank throughout the world is very low. Di Malaysia pun very low. Pakistan very low, Europe, Nigeria is very low. So it's a good topic to study. So the starting point, Bapak Amir cuba dapatkan beberapa tesis
Baik, Prof.
yang dibuat tentang ini adoption ataupun acceptance. The two words, dua perkataan yang digunakan adalah adoption, kadang-kadang digunakan acceptance. So boleh Google lah, thesis on acceptance of Islamic banking or thesis on the adoption of Islamic banking. Kalau tak dapat, cuba cari di mana-mana library, di mana-mana universiti lah kalau ada tajuk ini. Jadi insya-Allah bila ada tajuk itu, kita akan dapat come up dengan kita punya theoretical framework sendiri. Jadi untuk buat theoretical framework sendiri, seperti mana yang saya sebut sebelum ini, boleh faham bahasa Melayu ataupun
Paham, Chef. I understand.
Boleh,
Paham. Indonesia must understand Melayu.
Jadi insya-Allah saya boleh berbahasa Inggeris ataupun bahasa Melayu.
Yes. Of course.
Sometimes saya lupa saya cakap bahasa Inggeris atau bahasa Melayu. Macam lebih kurang sama saja. Okay. So we need to look at what others have done on the topic. We need to look at some of the PhD thesis on this topic. So you can Google the thesis on adoption of Islamic banking or thesis on acceptance of Islamic banking. So it doesn't matter in Malaysia or Indonesia or Pakistan, Nigeria, US, it doesn't matter. We want to look at how they develop the framework, methods that they have used. Methods can be similar, but the framework must be different. So that's the key word. So the framework must be different.
Yes.
So try to develop your framework. For example, you might want to focus on the marketing side, for example. So if you want to focus on marketing, if you're from marketing background.
Yes, I'm from marketing background, Prof.
Good. So you must know lots of framework on marketing. So try to come up with your own framework. You try to adapt and adopt other framework on marketing. Try to be different. Okay.
Yes.
So determine your DV, dependent variable, and maybe your mediating variable, and maybe moderating variable, and 4 independent variables. And try to be different. So for PhD, if your framework is found out to be the same as what has been done before, that might be a problem.
So I really hope, Prof, from my study that I can give contributions, especially for Syariah banking in Indonesia, especially and in the world. How to increase the market share?
Very good.
At least the same as the conventional banking, sir.
Yes, very good. Because it's very important. For example, countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, where the Muslims are the majority of population, yet the market share in terms and also the total deposits of Sharia bank is very, very low compared to conventional banks, meaning that there are some Muslims who still use the conventional bank.
So, thank you, Prof.
Most welcome.
So
the most important is try to come up with a strong and solid framework on marketing. you try to modify the framework that have been used before,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, and try to come up with something that looks different.
Yeah, I will, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Prof.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Very good topic. Bapak Haji Pamungkas. Siapa lagi ya yang ingin berkongsi?
Halo Prof. Prof.
Ya, ya.
This is Haji Pamungkas. Assalamualaikum Prof.
Silakan, silakan.
Yeah, Prof. Sorry because I'm not available to discuss directly to all of you because I'm on my way. So could you give me 15 minutes because I need to reach my some place. Then I will discuss with you directly. Could I?
Yes, yes. Take
Okay,
your
because
time.
yeah,
Take your
I will
time.
discuss about my article, about my proposal. So there is maybe there are many some methods that I want to make some clear with you, Prof. So give 15 minutes
Okay.
to discuss.
InsyaAllah.
Okay, see you. See you. Okay. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. Bapak Kamal, you want to share? Or anybody else? You want to share?
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Saya ingin sharing tentang ini, Prof. Ingin bertanya, ingin bertanya tentang apakah begini, Prof. Saya menggunakan teori plan
Behavior.
ya, plan behavior, TPB.
Ya.
Ya, benar. Nah, apakah itu variabelnya yang attitude, kemudian subject norm, perceived behavior itu harus ditulis dalam problem statement.
Oke. Jadi dalam konteks apa? TPB itu dalam konteks apa?
Variabelnya, Prof. Variabel.
Dalam konteks itu maksudnya apakah judul?
Oh, judulnya ini tentang ini determinant of producer behavior toward halal certification.
Oke, oke. Jadi nanti respondennya siapa? Produser ini produser halalnya, Bro. Yang ini saya kasus di halal food. Oke. Nanti perlu tentukan berapa ramai produser sebab kita perlu pastikan bilangan responden itu melebihi 300 ya.
Lebih dari 300, Bro.
Iya, iya. Itu sebab itu saya tanya itu. Kalau respondennya biasa untuk PhD melebihi 300 ya kalau kita guna apa ni questionnaire ya. Itu kita perlu tentukan sama ada sebab tu ramai PhD student mereka mencari tajuk yang ramai responden ya. Contohnya customers of something. Kalau customers ramai ya. Kalau producers itu masalah sikit ya.
Ya, itu lebih sedikit, Bro. Lebih susah.
Mungkin boleh lihat dari sudut customer. Ya, adakah customer itu bagaimana pemilihan produk halal. Mungkin boleh difikirkan lagi ya. Kita mau melihat dari sudut producer ataupun dari sudut customer itu sendiri. Okey, kemudian adakah boleh digunakan TPB? Boleh, tapi perlu diberi justifikasi ya. Misalnya apakah yang dimaksudkan dengan attitude? Dan perlu diberi justifikasi kenapa dalam kes ini attitude itu penting ya. Attitude itu signifikan. Kenapa dimasukkan attitude itu? Jadi semuanya bergantung kepada bagaimana kita dapat memberi justifikasi ya.
Tapi apakah harus 300 Prof ininya apa respondennya? Misal saya mengambil tempat di kabupaten itu semacam apa ya, subdistrik.
Untuk kita distribute questionnaire ya, dan untuk kita menganalisis data kita akan tentukan melalui dipanggil sampling size criteria, the selection of sampling size. Jadi itu akan kita belajar kemudian. Sampling size kita akan melihat bahawa kita perlu sampel size yang cukup besar ya untuk tujuan menganalisa. Kalau tidak, kita tidak dapat menganalisa. Kalau terlampau sedikit, kita akan bermasalah untuk membuat analisa dari segi statistik. Nanti kita akan belajar bagaimana untuk kita dapat memilih sampel size itu. Jadi kena fikirkan semula, kena cari responden yang banyak kalau kita mau buat analisis statistik. Jadi sini saya cuba tunjukkan. Nanti apabila kita akan distribute questionnaire, ini salah satu sampel size kriteria yang digunakan pada peringkat PhD. Kita guna Crisci and Morgan 1970 ya. Ini dia punya formula. Ini dia punya table. N refers to population of the study as a sample size. Kalau PhD biasa kita ambil di sini ya, sample size yang begini ya, 300 ke atas ya. Nanti kita boleh fikir semula. Ini sampel size kriteria berasaskan Crisci and Morgan. Ada lagi sampel size yang sampel size kriteria yang lain yang lebih kecil ya. Ada yang 100, ada yang lebih kecil. Tapi saya melihat kalau peringkat PhD ya, selalu dia ambil kebiasaannya dia ambil yang tinggi lah. Sebab dari segi statistik, the larger the sample size, it tends to be normal. Semakin banyak size sample itu, jadi distribution as the sample size goes larger, the larger the sample size, the distribution tends to be normal. Dan sebahagian daripada statistical package dia hanya boleh analyze sample size yang besar. Jadi masih boleh difikirkan lagi, masih awal lagi, boleh fikirkan bila kita nak buat questionnaire tu, kita kena fikirkan population size dan juga sample size. Population size sebaiknya kita pilih yang besar ya. Untuk contoh population 20,000. Population size 20,000, so sample size ialah 377, something like that. Okay, kemudian soalan tadi tentang theoretical framework ya. Ini contoh theoretical framework yang menggunakan TPB ya. Jadi TPB ada attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavioral control, intention and compliance behavior. So untuk PhD kita perlu berlainan ya. We have to be different. At PhD we need our research to be novel. Novel means something that has never been done before. For example, in this framework, this researcher introduced a new variable that's never been included in TPB, and also moral obligation. So bila kita melihat keseluruhan ini, walaupun guna TPB, tapi ada something new, the contribution, moral obligation and Islamic religiosity. Dalam kes ini, subjective norm is not significant. So kita tidak boleh ambil sahaja framework. Kita perlu modify. We need to adapt and adopt and make our framework different from the framework constructed by previous researchers. So our framework need to be different somewhat. Kena tunjuk different. Must have the criteria of novelty. Novelty means it is original, it is different from previous researchers. So bila kita buat PhD ya, kita tidak boleh framework kita sama dengan framework yang lain. So semasa saya buat PhD dulu, saya tanya, I asked my professor, suppose my framework is the same as framework by one PhD student, by other PhD student. Suppose my framework is the same as a framework of other PhD student. What do I do? And then my supervisor said, you finish first. You need to finish first. If you finish first, it's okay. That was his answer. So meaning at the same time, no two PhD theses can be similar. So must be different. And how we develop our framework, usually we adopt from other people. For example, this framework was adopted from Eisen, 1991, Kamil, 2002, Zaino, 2008, and Ram Al-Jafri, 2010. So that's how we develop, we come up. It looks simple, but you need to justify. So after the framework, okay, you need to justify why you include this this construct, we call construct. For example, the theoretical framework is adopted from Eisen, Kamil, Zaino, and Ram Al-Jafri, and based on deductive reasoning. This study uses deductive reasoning to expand the theoretical framework and to add new variables, because in the original TPB by Eisen, only 3 IV, attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control. And we need to expand this framework. So this study uses deductive reasoning. Based on the theoretical framework, attitude is the first construct that determines the intention to pay zakat. So we need to justify why attitude is included here. Okay, so you need to justify. You justify in your own way. So first, attitude is included because based on other studies, based on these studies, right? These studies have used attitude before. And also, okay, you need to explain why attitude is important in the context of halal. Why attitude is important also in the context of selection of halal food. Okay, so every construct that you include in the theoretical framework must be justified. Mesti ada justifikasi. The first is based on previous studies, and the second based on the context that you are trying to research. For example, in the context of halal food, why attitude is important? What is the meaning of attitude? You have to really know what is the meaning of attitude. So if it's significant, you include. If not, you choose other variable that is justified as significant. So tidak boleh terus saja. Mesti ada hujah. Kenapa kamu masukkan dalam framework itu. Okay, any other question?
Ya, jadi TPB ini jadi grand theory-nya gitu ya, Prof. Kemudian kita harus mencari develop variable.
Ya.
Nah,
Mungkin
itu
mungkin boleh combine dengan dengan model lain.
Nah,
sebab TPB cuma ada 3 IV saja. Dia sebaiknya ada sekurang-kurangnya PhD ni ada 4 IV lah. Kebiasaannya lah. Kita tambah something. And then subjective norm ni dalam banyak kajian lepas dibuktikan tidak begitu significant. So mungkin boleh ganti subjective norm with something else. Dalam kajian ini juga didapati subjective norm is not significant. Kalau di sini subjective norm not supported. Subjective norm not supported. Attitude supported. Subjective norm not supported. Perceived behavioral control supported. Moral obligation supported. Okay, Islamic religiosity moderates. Relationship between attitude not supported. Not supported. Tapi ada Islamic religiosity moderates relationship between perceived behavioral control and intention supported. So ada yang supported, ada yang tak supported. Okay, soalan lain? Jadi bapa ni sudah ready ya? Tadi siapa ya? Sudah.
Halo, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Ya, silakan.
Prof, I would like to share about my thesis dissertation, proposed dissertation.
Silakan.
Yeah, I just want to tell you about my research. My research is about central bank digital currency, opportunity and risk from Islamic monetary perspective. Actually, my paper has been presented on second international graduate student symposium on Istanbul University, Turkey, with Prof. Nekmitin and Prof. Ahmed Yahpa.
Masya
And I
Allah.
would like, Alhamdulillah, on
Alhamdulillah.
October 2020, 3 months ago, and I would like to bring this paper into. I would like to explore more this paper into my research dissertation. But actually, the CBDCs is a very debatable topics, and it's still on improvement in central bank in many countries, and because the base of the the CBDC is the cryptocurrency, and my paper would like to explore more whether the cryptocurrencies are able to be the Islamic digital money. So I should explore more about the um, uh, Islamic monetary uh, research or money from Islamic or conventional perspective. But in this paper, I'm using a quantitative research, which is as AGARD. I don't know whether it is approved by UNISAMS or not, because the AGARD was chosen to to analyze the fluctuation of the cryptocurrencies. So many cryptocurrencies to be analyzed. I would like to ask you, Prof, whether you have any suggestion to my paper for my distant paper. Thank you, Prof.
Yes, in my opinion, it's a good paper, but to upgrade to PhD level, there are still lots of works to be done. Number one, you can from what perspective you want to look at the cryptocurrency and digital currency, from which perspective? One, you can look at from the perspective of Sharia, right? Whether it is permissible or not, right? And what else?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, that's number one. What else you want to look at? Number one, from Sharia perspective, right?
Yes.
And what else?
I would like to analyze whether the cryptocurrencies, mostly the stable coin backed up by gold, it can be used to be the Islamic digital currency, and because the improving technology in the Islamic societies may be push the Islamic community to use the digital money. So I would like to analyze whether the stable coin backed up by gold, it is permissible to be the Islamic digital money and used by the Islamic community maybe in 10 years away from now.
What else? Yeah, that one I understand already. So what else? What else you want to do?
The CBDCs, the CBDCs, it is from the first one is digital money, and the second one is the central bank digital currencies issued by the central bank from many countries. a few countries has already approved the CBDCs, and like China or Venezuela try to approve the CBDCs, but in many countries, also in Indonesia, I don't know in Malaysia. In Indonesia, Bank Indonesia still analyzing the permit the cryptocurrency with the CBDCs, and how to explore more whether they want to issue the digital money in Indonesian people.
Okay. Still from
I don't know.
still from Sharia perspective, right?
Yes. Still on Sharia perspective, but I don't know in Malaysia, what is the government of Malaysia, the Bank Negara Malaysia permitted the CBDCs or the digital money. It's I never explore more about it.
Yeah, we have in Malaysia, we have a Sharia Advisory Council of Security Commission, and that give the like fatwa on the permissibility of products in Islamic finance. What I'm afraid if you look at from Sharia perspective and you want to do PhD, suddenly there is a fatwa already who said like this. Okay, then you got nothing much else to say.
But the ROIP approved the stable coin backed up by gold to be used as the digital money, like e-gold. On the Middle Eastern start to use e-gold or first gold in blockchain technology. Malaysia also have one product of digital money, as far I know now. It's called the first gold or something. So I would like maybe to explore more about the digital money. I
Yeah.
hope it's not contrary to the advisory council fatwa.
Yeah. So for PhD, you need to write a lot, right? You need to write like 300 to 400 pages, right? So it's a good start to look at from Sharia perspective about digital currency and about what the second one is about what?
CBDC, Prof. Central Bank Digital Currency. So the government issued the money, not only the fiat money, but also money in the form of digital. So if maybe $100, the total money issued, $100 total issued, maybe 50% in the form of digital and 50% in the form of fiat money.
Okay, so it's okay. You can try to explore from Sharia perspective. You can try, but I'm still scared. If you know what you want to try, there is already answer. Because to do research, you know, you need to explore something that has not been done, something that is not known. So you can try as a starting point, you know, look at from the perspective of several experts and Islamic scholars, right? There is one Islamic scholar who has the opinion that digital currency is not permissible as it is right now. So you might want to explore how to make it permissible.
No,
Because,
actually not how make it permissible, but the opportunity, just the opportunity, whether it is can be used to be Islamic digital money.
yeah, because yeah, it's okay, but what I'm concerned is how you are going to write and to upgrade to PhD level. If you present at seminar, it's okay. A seminar in conference and PhD, these are two different things. So it's okay. I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm thinking about how to upgrade to PhD level.
And some problem in UK, London MSQ have already received digital currency in Zakah, Prof. Some 3 MSQ on 2017 has already accepted the digital money from blockchain to be the zakat payment.
Yeah, I wrote a paper on that one also. I have a paper on that one.
And they argue the arguments was if the digital currency accepted to be the zakat payment, so it will be maybe 2.5% on Muslim pocket in blockchain technology to be the zakat zakat potential zakat in the world.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see your point, but I'm trying to think about how to upgrade to reach the PhD level, because if you read the notes that I give you, the notes, you will see that there are process of writing, and oh, we will try. You continue writing. So
Yes, Prof, thank you very much.
it's a good paper for presentation, but sometimes you know, paper and thesis are two different things. So we want to think about how to upgrade your paper to
Yes, I
become
will.
thesis, you know.
Yes, I will discuss this with my supervisor.
Yes. Who is your
Thank you very much.
supervisor? Who is,
Maybe Prof Nurul Huda from Indonesia and Dr. Tahir. I don't
okay,
know.
okay, good. Good.
But I actually don't know. The offering letter not sent to me, not yet sent to us to the student. So
Okay, good.
yes, thank you very much, Prof Yusuf.
You're welcome. Okay, like I said before, try to get a few theses that has been done on this topic. Maybe there are some theses, you know, on the Sharia perspective of e-wallet, for example, Sharia perspective of maybe digital currency. There are some that has been written. So make sure you get a few full research and PhD thesis that is similar to the one that you are going to write. Because of course, I'm sure you have articles, right? You have papers, but like I said, the best reference is PhD thesis, because if you refer to articles and proceedings, there is a work to be done to upgrade from the article to PhD. So two different levels. Yeah. So hopefully your supervisors can guide you. Inshallah. Okay, very good. Okay, Mr. Bapak Haji Pamungkas, silakan.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sorry, my voice not normal, Prof, because I've been recovering from my coach. Okay, Prof. About my research title, as I about my research title, Prof, is financing and investment distribution strategy through Islamic rural banks to meet financing needs for micro, small, and medium enterprise in Indonesia. Sorry, sir. So that's the research title of my proposal, Prof. So I have some question about this proposal because as a consultant, now I'm a consultant, a private consultant. So I have a client from investment company and some of rural banks, Islamic rural banks, Indonesia, Bank Perkrita Rakyat Syariah. So as you know, today Islamic rural bank has a problem when they try to collect some funds from customer, because now the customer has alternate not only to put their money to bank, but they use their money to buy some asset. So that's the problem, because in one side, rural Islamic rural bank has many requests, big requests from his customer, because they need some money from bank. But in another hand, there are problem with funds that a bank has. So that's why they try to discuss with me as a consultant, how to find some fresh money from others, of course, not only from customer access, but they try to looking for from maybe investment company. So that's why about my research title, about the background. So in another hand, from EMS in micro, small, and middle enterprise has a big problem too. They have no support totally from government, especially from bank. So there are three kinds of needs that fulfill my research. First, from investment company, and the other from Islamic rural banks, and the others from micro, small, middle enterprise. So that's why my data research is a financing and investment distribution strategy through Islamic rural banks to meet financial needs for micro, small, and medium enterprise in Indonesia. Then my question to you, Prof, about kinds of the methodology. What kinds of the methodology research that I have to use, because this is the real case, not this is the real case that I have to give some good way to three kinds of institution. So I just only confused about my the right of methodology research. Is it possible if we using research method, I mean from study research, or we use field research, Prof? Could you give some clarify about the right method research for the case my research title, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. I want to ask you that question. And you asked me that question.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of research design, you can use some expert, right? You can use some expert interview to get the data. You are a consultant and you are expert, but for PhD thesis, you cannot use yourself as the expert. So you have to interview other experts, right?
Okay.
Get the name of the experts.
Okay.
Maybe you want to ask them. You start, for example, with one expert. You ask them questions, although you know the answer, but you cannot use yourself as the expert for PhD.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
so for example, you start with one expert, right?
Okay, but Prof, maybe is it okay with my research title, because my research title is financing and investment distribution strategic through Islamic rural banks to meet financial for MSME in Indonesia. Is it okay with my research title, Prof?
For now, it's okay, but as we go along, you will present a colloquium one. Examiner might suggest you to change your title. So, so it's a normal procedure. So don't worry. So you can start with that title. And later on, when the supervisor or the examiner, they give a comment, you can always change. So we changed the title many times.
Okay.
So don't worry. So the research design, okay, there are two types of data that I think you can employ in your research. Number one, primary data using interview, right? You can identify the experts in this field, maybe some of your friends. You need to name them, okay? What information you want to get depends on what you write as your research question and research objective. So I need to look at your research questions and research objective. And then from there, we can try to determine the sources of data. So you might want to identify a few experts. You can, start with one and then continue until you get all the information. And number two, you might want to try a library research also, right? Maybe there are some writings, some research that has been done on something that is very similar. So it's called library research. We try to get the information from writings, documents, and research that have been done on this area. So your study might tend to be more qualitative, right? So it's more of opinions of experts, what has been written on this topic. So it's more like a qualitative. But if you want to add some aspect of more of qualitative, right? So later on, as we go along, we will see whether you want to mix with a quantitative or not. So for now, yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, but Prof, sorry, Prof. Maybe this is hard. It's hard for me, Prof, because my research base is from a real case, because my client, investment company, one of investment company, needs some good advice for me. Yeah, good advice for me, because they have a money, but they try to invest their money in the right place. So I just suggest how to their money invest to the small business or micro business or middle business. So, but I said to them, don't directly invest to end user, but they can invest with partnership with Islamic Rural Bank in Indonesia. So, in another hand, I have discussed with associate of Islamic Rural Bank in Indonesia. So the board of associate of Islamic Rural Banks said to me that there are many requests from each rural banks, Islamic rural banks, that they need some invest from investment company. They are a big invest that they really need. So I think this is a good chance for me, because this is a real case. One from investment company need their money to invest the right place, and on the other hand, Islamic rural banks need some money from investor, yeah, because they really has a gap to serve and to cover some credit to their customer, small and micro, small and middle customer. So I think this is good for me to combine about the reason, about the background. So I try to make some research from this. Then the final research is this is the right way that can be used to investment company, or can be used to Islamic rural bank, sir. So this is maybe this is I just wanted to be clear about my research background. It become from a real case. So that's why I really yeah, have a good spirit to make some research from this case, sir. Hello.
Yes. So like I said before, it's a good case. But like I said before, when we do PhD, I'm sure you are an expert, but when you are a PhD student, you cannot use yourself as the expert when you do the expert interview. So that is what I'm thinking right now, how to solve this problem. You yourself is the expert, right? Because at PhD, we need other people to get the data. Okay, so let me go to research design, right? So when we do research, we need to have a research design, right? So when you have a topic, this is what you want to think about. Research design, according to Kerlinger 1986, a research design is viewed as a plan, structure, and strategy. So research design is a plan, it's a structure and a strategy of any research in order to obtain answers to the research objectives or hypothesis. So so you need to develop your research questions and research objectives.
Okay.
So try to write your research questions and research objectives. Okay, from there we need to develop the research plan. So the plan should consist of what researcher intends to do. So for everybody, after you write research questions and research objective, we want to find out how to answer your research question, how to answer your research objective, right?
Yeah.
And then, so we need to have a plan. So this plan consists of what the researcher intends to do, what you want to do, which includes hypothesis development. If you have any hypothesis, how do you develop your hypothesis? And then, some people needs to define what they want to do, operational definitions, define exactly what you want to measure, and how you measure your variables, and data collection and data analysis. So you need to think about, Bapak Aji, you need to think about what kind of data that you need. So that's the way we do research, right? What kind of data? So like I said, I suggest that you use a primary data, for example. And you need to, although you are the expert, you need, for the purpose of research, you need to find other experts also to get the data, to ask these questions and ask their opinions also, to get their opinions, right? So you are the expert, you know the answer.
Yeah.
So, but also you need to get the opinions of other experts, okay? And then you need to pretend that you are not an expert, but you can analyze the opinions of other experts. Because when you defend proposal defense, for example, you cannot, if they ask you who you got the information from, you cannot say it's from me, I am the expert. So that is not the answer. So you can say, okay, I got this information using the interview method, where I identify, where this study identifies, how many experts that the study interviews. So that's, I'm thinking about how to, how to convert into a research, right? So this is a good consultancy. Actually, consultancy means we try to solve the actual case, right? But still, we need to convert into the research style. So you need to identify whether you want to use a quantitative or qualitative. But I think in your case, the type of research in your case is qualitative. So unlike this one is.
Prof, sorry, sir, Prof.
Sure, go ahead.
If, okay, sorry, Prof. To get some quantitative data, so it is possible that I looking for some data from investment company, because I believe that investment company has already data about profit, maybe benefit or something. Then I can use that exists data, such as a profit and benefit or some gain, maybe in line with their investment in other field before. Then I get some data too from Islamic Rural Bank, same as some of data like such as profit, benefit, or maybe about finance ratio. Then I can compare after we use my strategy, my research strategy. Then I try to use compare the data before and after. Before I use the strategy way as advice from two side. We can compare about the existing data and the other data after we use the strategy way, maybe Prof. Is it possible that I use the existing data?
Yes,
Prof?
it's possible, but I think we are getting too far ahead. So my suggestion is, okay, try to write your topic and then problem statement, right? You need first you need the topic, right? Of course, the topic can be changed. Okay, for example, this is a topic, right? Compliance behavior. So whatever the topic, then try to write your chapter 1. Okay, your chapter 1 consists of overview and then background of the study. I think you have written already, right?
Okay.
And then problem statement, right?
Okay.
And then research questions. And then research objective. For example, if you have 6 research questions, you should have 6 research objectives also. And then from there, we can determine how to answer your research objective, right? So, for example, okay, what kind of data that you need depends on the objective of your study. So, maybe I can answer your questions better if you can show me your specific objectives and your research questions. Then we talk about what kind of data that we need to answer your research questions and research objectives. So when we do research and a PhD thesis, the research design depends on research questions and also research objective. So, okay, maybe in the next class you can share with us your specific objectives, and then from there we can determine what kind of data that you need. For example, in this case, the specific objective is to examine the influence of attitude on intention, right? So how do we answer this question? To examine the influence of attitude on intention, we collect the data using questionnaire. And in the questionnaire, there are constructs of attitude, and there is a construct or variable of attitude and intention. So why we use questionnaire? Because depends on the objective. So we need to look at your objective, and then from there we determine what type of data that you need. So try to write your objective. If you want to use a secondary data, for example, try to use the objective such that at the end of the study, you'll be able to answer the objective. If you can do that, it's okay. Yes, Bu Emi, silakan.
Thank you.
Ibu Emi, raise your hand, silakan.
Oh, no, Shah. Yang tadi.
Oh, yang tadi. Oke.
Okay. Terima kasih, Prof.
Silakan, Bu.
Saya.
Ya, silakan Bu Ita.
Saya mau tanya lagi, apakah di kelas ini we will have information regarding the methodology?
Good question, Bu Ita.
Because actually, we don't know much about the methodology.
Okay, good question.
I mean, whether you will explain some methodology.
Yes. Here is the thing, Bu Ita. This class is a research class, right? I will explain in detail the research methodology. Today, I started with sharing with you about the research methodology, right? But sometimes I entertain questions because from my past experience, when you ask questions, you not only understand the topic you want to write, but also about research methodology also. So good question, Bu Ita. This class is about research methodology, but sometimes I want to help you so much because I entertain your questions because sometimes you are so confused. So I try to cover both aspects of theory and practical writing, because my philosophy is if you learn how to drive a car, but if you don't drive the car, so it's no use. Okay.
Okay.
So let me share with you. So let's go back to this. So this is the textbook that I write for this class, and I share with you. And the title is Advanced Research Methodology Lecture Notes, right? So this is the book that we cover to cover the theory, right? So sometimes I read, sometimes I cover the theory, but sometimes I want to help you, so you can ask any questions. Because to me, you know, if you learn how to drive a car, right? The theory of driving a car, but you don't drive a car. So you know the theory, but you don't know how to drive a car. So just like this one, there are some previously the in some universities, right? So they cover research methodology, the theory, but at the end of the class, the students don't know how to write. So I don't want that to happen. So we cover the theory, at the same time, you can ask questions about your thesis. Okay. So let's go back to theory. There are two types of research, right? One is quantitative methods, and the other one is qualitative. So in quantitative methods, we use theory in quantitative methods, like I mentioned before, right? So in quantitative methods, you need to develop your theoretical framework, right? So we develop the theoretical framework, and then we try to go out and collect the data, for example, using questionnaire, and then we collect the data, we input the data, and then we analyze the data, and then we try to study whether the theory or the theoretical framework receives empirical support or not, right? So that's the use of theory in quantitative research. That's why I said, when you do your PhD, try to read previous studies or previous PhD thesis, because we want to understand the theories. We want to understand the theories. Also, you can get the theories by looking, by reading the research articles, right? Journal articles and also the proceedings. Journal articles and also the proceedings, right? But the problem with reading journal articles is sometimes, you know, one journal article, they give you incomplete information. For example, the framework only contains 2 variables, 3 variables. But if you get access to the full research, you get the whole variables. Okay. So okay, can you see? Can you see now? Can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is an example of quantitative study, right? So in quantitative study, it's very important that you develop the framework. You develop the framework. This is an example of the framework. So once you develop the framework, okay, you can easily write your research question and research objective. For example, research question, does attitude have influence on intention? Does attitude have an influence on intention? 2 keywords, attitude and intention, right? Where do you get that? You get that from the framework. So in your framework, you have attitude and intention. So your research question is, does attitude have an influence on intention? So that's how you do the. So for quantitative research, what we do is we want to test whether the theories receive empirical support or not. So this is the theory. So all this framework that you develop are called the theory, or we call the theoretical framework of the study. Okay, so in quantitative research, the theory is very important. Okay. So in quantitative research, researchers we cannot absolutely prove cause and effect. Okay, so we say that there is probable causation. So we have variables we call independent variables, right? Independent variables are those that probably cause, influence, or affect outcomes. Outcomes here refers to the dependent variable. So independent variables, sometimes they are called treatment variable, manipulated variable, antecedent variable, or predictor variables. So these are other names for the independent variables. And then we have dependent variables. Dependent variables are the outcome variables. Dependent variables depend on the independent variables. So independent variables are the variables that explain the dependent variables. Other names for dependent variables are criterion variable, outcome variable, effect variable or response variable. Then we have intervening or mediating variable. Intervening or mediating variables stand between the independent and dependent variables, and they mediate the effects of independent variable on the dependent variable. The mediating variable stands between the independent and dependent variables. And then we have moderating variables. Moderating variables are independent variables that affect the direction and or strength of the relationship between independent and dependent variables. These moderating variables are new variables constructed by a researcher by taking one variable and multiplying it by another variable to determine the joint impact of both on the dependent variable. So we will talk about the mediating and moderating when we do the data analysis later on. So let me go back to the example, because sometimes when I show you the theoretical background, sometimes you cannot see, right? So I show it to you once again because by looking at the real thesis, we can see more clearly, right? So now compliance behavior is the DV, dependent variable. And here we have 4 independent variables: attitude, subjective norm, perceived, behavioral control, and moral obligation. These are called independent variables. So intention is the mediating variable. So the mediating variable intention is in the middle. Yeah, mediate the relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. So that is called the mediating variable. Moderating variable, okay, the arrow is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, Islamic religiosity moderates relationship between attitude and intention. So this moderating variable, it can affect the strength. It can strengthen or weaken the relationship between attitude and intention. And it could also change the direction from positive to negative. So that is a function of moderating variable. Okay, any question? So please read this advanced research methodology lecture notes that I write, because sometimes I don't have time to explain everything. If you have questions, you can ask, right? But I think we learn more by practicing, and that is my philosophy. You cannot learn how to drive just by theory. You learn research by learning the theory, and at the same time you do it parallel, right? You learn something and you do it. So if you learn something and you go back and sleep, you cannot learn much. So to me, my philosophy is you learn research by doing research. Okay. So I think we are running out of time. So I'm trying to cover too much, I think, because before I started teaching research method, there was somebody else who taught the research method, and there were complaints like, okay, we know the research method, but we don't know how to write. So I'm trying to improve this class. I've been teaching this class for PhD in management since 2016. So since 2016, what I've done is I try to cover both the theory and also the academic writing aspect. Means I try to help you with your topic also. Actually, I don't have to know about your topic, right? I just come to class and teach you the research theory. But I think it's no use, like I don't want to happen like that. Before 2016, there were some students who could not, finish their writing on time because learning theory and practice is two different things. You need to know the theory and you need to write. So my suggestion to you, don't leave one day go by without writing. Every day, try to write and show to your supervisor, right? And ask questions in this class. Inshallah, I will try to help you. Okay? So I hope I'm not trying too much. I'm trying to teach you research method, and also I'm trying to help you, uh, until you pass at least colloquium 1 and also the proposal defense. Okay. So this semester, inshallah, I will help you to pass this class and also pass colloquium 1. So to pass colloquium 1, all you have to do is write your assignment 1 very well. Write clearly your assignment 1. So you can see in your WhatsApp group, I give you assignment 1, right? You can see now. Rubric assignment 1. Okay, in your WhatsApp group. You just follow that one. Okay. All right, I think we are running out of time. One final question. Last chance for today. One final question before we end our lecture. And inshallah, I will post this lecture in a YouTube channel and you can view it again. Yes, please. Any question?
Prof, excuse me, how many pages should we write to the proposal for the assignment first?
Assignment 1, eh? Assignment
Yeah,
1,
assignment and
like I said, about 20 pages.
20 pages and double or single space?
Is I think it's 1.5, I think.
1.5.
Roman 12, I think 1.5. The spacing is not 2, it's not 1. I think it's in the middle.
Yes. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. But don't worry too much about the pages. More important is the content, right? Some people write 40 pages. It's okay. Some people write 15 pages. Okay. Because it's just assignment 1 is just the initial plan of what you want to write. You can always add later, but on average, about 20, 25 pages is all right. Just your initial plan, right? It's not the pages that matters. More important is, what you want to write is clear from the beginning. all right, so that we can guide you further, right? And always contact your supervisor, right? Always contact your supervisor. Okay, we meet here, inshallah, every week, but you can always contact your supervisor. Some people, some students call me 2-3 times a week. Some people call me once a week. Some people call me once a month. So it depends on you. But my advice is when you call your supervisor, please read beforehand what you want to discuss. Okay. Some students just call me, Prof. Can I do like this? Can I do like that? I said, okay. You need to read, right? To guide you. The supervisor can guide you also, but what you want to write must have citation, right? Must have citation. It doesn't matter you write chapter 1, chapter 2, or chapter 3. Everything must have citation and must have reference. So you need to read and then you need to write. If you read and you don't write, it's useless also. If you write but you don't read, you will write it incorrectly, right? So in order to write, you need guidance from previous studies. Okay, one last question before we end today's class.
Prof, saya izin bertanya.
Silakan.
My research is sustainability Islamic finance, Prof. In Indonesia, maybe I want to in Malaysia and Pakistan, tetapi menunggu data. But my penelitian saya adalah kuantitatif dengan panel data dan pengolahan datanya menggunakan IFUS dan DEA, begitu sehingga ketika saya ingin mengirimkan theoretical framework, saya harus memastikan terlebih dahulu data yang saya gunakan harus ready gitu, Prof. Sehingga itu yang saya lakukan, Prof, untuk justifikasi and then research gap, insya Allah ready. Tetapi saya harus memastikan data yang saya gunakan harus ada terlebih dahulu. Apakah begitu tidak masalah atau harus bagaimana, Prof?
Sebab bila menggunakan panel data sangat penting untuk kita pastikan data itu wujud terlebih dahulu. Otherwise nanti kita akan menghadapi masalah kerana tidak dapat menganalisa data yang tidak wujud. Sebab data yang digunakan panel data. Bila kita guna secondary data ataupun panel data, is best yang kita cek data itu adalah accessible. Maksud data itu boleh diperolehi. Kemudian bila kita nak buat framework macam saya sebut tadilah, it's always best to look at the framework that have been done by others. Kita merujuk kepada framework yang telah dibuat oleh pengkaji-pengkaji sebelumnya supaya framework yang kita buat itu nanti berbeza dan improve better daripada yang lepas. Jadi itu dua perkara lah. Pertama, pastikan data itu wujud. Yang kedua, pastikan framework itu berbeza daripada framework yang lain, and improve version daripada yang lain. Tidak boleh sama.
My variable independent trip, Prof, efficiency, and then HSR, Islamic Social Responsibility, and then and then Islamicity Performance Index by Islamic Income Ratio and Zakat Performance Ratio, Prof. And efisiensi, saya mengambil data input and output, in this operating horse, performance staff, equivalence, and equipment free, and then output, profit, market share, and annual growth rate. Saya ingin mengirimkan framework saya next in the class, Prof. Send in your WA.
Cuma saya ulang yang saya sebut tadi ya.
Yes.
Framework yang kita ingin bentuk itu mesti berasaskan daripada kajian PhD yang sebelumnya. Yes. Ya, supaya kita ingin pastikan framework kita itu tidak sama dengan kajian yang sebelumnya. Mesti berbeza, dan setiap variable yang kita masukkan mesti ada justifikasi. Justifikasi maksudnya kita mesti menulis bahawa variable ini pernah digunakan oleh si fulan dan si fulan gitu ya. Dan juga kenapa variable itu signifikan dan perlu dimasukkan dalam kajian kita. So pertama mesti berasaskan teori bermaksud kajian yang lepas. Yang kedua berasaskan expectation, jangkaan kita kenapa variable itu signifikan dalam kes ini perlu dimasukkan. Sebab dari segi research, variable itu banyak, sekali. Jadi kita mesti memilih, dan kenapa kita pilih? Mesti ada justifikasi, itu penting. Ya.
Oke, Prof.
Okay, saya ingat setakat itu sajalah masa untuk hari ini. Sebab saya pun ada kelas lagi selepas ini. Jadi kita berhenti di sini dulu. Nanti saya akan bagi link kepada YouTube dan saya akan bagi link kepada GC. Mohon maaf sebab kelewatan. Sebab sangat busy ya. Saya extremely busy. Sebab saya diamanahkan sebagai pengarah pusat pengajian Cypher ini. Jadi ibu-ibu bapa-bapa adalah pelajar Cypher ya, Center for Islamic Finance, Education and Research. Saya unfortunately dilantik sebagai pengarah yang bertaraf dean ya. Pengarah yang bertaraf dean atau dekan. Jadi banyak kerja pentadbiran yang saya terpaksa selesaikan ya. Di samping juga menyelia, saya ada 10 pelajar PhD ya yang saya sedang menyelia. Jadi agak busy ya. Di samping ditambah lagi dengan pelajar-pelajar dalam kelas ini ya. Jadi banyak kerja. Jadi saya bersyukur bila banyak kerja, mudah-mudahan Allah Ta'ala akan memberi reward yang banyak ya.
Amin.
Pak Yusuf.
Ya, silakan.
Ada library tak Pak ya? Di Unisam ada library,
ada.
kita bisa masuk ke library, e-library.
Ya.
Digital library.
Ya, ada nggak?
Ibu boleh melihat dalam portal ya. Ada di
portal.
Ya, di situ ditunjukkan bagaimana untuk akses kepada library, dan insya-Allah saya sedang menyusun satu program untuk bersama dengan library, dan saya akan maklumkan kemudianlah akan diadakan satu workshop on how to use Emerald, how to use Emerald. So itu sedang direncanakan. Insya-Allah saya maklumkan apabila bengkel itu diwujudkan, dan dia percuma lah. Ibu-ibu bapa-bapa boleh gunakan library dan juga guna kita panggil Emerald. Kita subscribe kepada Emerald untuk dapatkan jurnal-jurnal daripada Emerald Publishing. Jadi boleh tengok portal how to use library, sehingga ada dalam portal, ataupun kalau ada persoalan itu boleh bertanya dengan Bapa Profesor Hadi Musallin, ya. Itu di luar bidang saya, ya. Bagaimana untuk akses library itu, boleh ajukan pertanyaan kepada Bapa Hadi Musallin daripada Graduate Management Center. Okey, soalan lain? Okey, kalau tidak ada soalan, itu saja untuk hari ini. Mohon maaf atas kekurangan. Wallahu a'lam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Prof. Makasih, Prof.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Nanti jumpa lagi, ya, insyaAllah. Jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.